So, hello everyone. Good evening. How are you all? So, guys, today we are going to discuss the topic that is cell, and that's very important topic from the examinations point of view. And yes, there are a lot of questions which are asked in the examination. So, I'll give you some of the hints. So, if I'll talk about the basic questions, so questions like which of the following is known as suicidal packets? So, they'll give the four options, and as we know that lysosomes will be the correct answer here. Which of the following is the protein factory? So, the answer will be ribosome, obviously, right? So, these type of questions are framed in the examination. But in order to answer them correctly, we need to go with the basics first. And I'll take some of the typical questions as well. So, which of the following is involved in the protein synthesis? So, we link it with ribosomes, right? But if someone asks you about the proteins modification, then so if someone asks you about the proteins modification, at this time the answer will be Golgi apparatus. So, in order to answer them correctly, we need to go with the basics, and here we are starting with the chapter cell. So before starting the chapter cell, I just want a confirmation, guys. Is each and everything okay? I mean, is my voice and the background, is everything okay? Because of the same reason, we have actually shifted this class to 9 p.m. This was actually scheduled on at 2 p.m. So just give me the confirmation. Every candidate who is present in the class, is everything okay, guys? Okay. So now, since everything is okay, we can start with the session. So first of all, cell. Why is it written that it is known as unit of life? There might be some reason behind it, right? So what is the reason? In order to understand about it, I'll give you the basic idea. If I talk about the reproduction phase, how we were born. So there was a sperm cell that was obtained from father. Second thing is we got egg cell from mother. That means it was the combination of two cells and finally zygote was formed. That zygote in which divisions were there, 2 cell stage, 4 cell stage, 8 cell stage and so on. And finally within few weeks we were there in the uterus of our mother where it took 9 months for the body's development, and that process is known as embryogenesis. Although this is the part of our reproduction chapter, so no need to worry. Let's start with the basic version of the cell that is known as unit of life. So why it is known as unit of life? Once again I'll explain it here. Just see, if I talk about your home, the location at which you are studying right now. So it was once a plain area, right? But there were many bricks that were joined together. And when many bricks were joined together, it actually formed a building, right? So yes, there were many bricks which were joined together, and slowly a wall was made. And when wall was made, there were some rooms, and when many rooms were there, where kitchen was there, washroom was there, and finally our home was made. So yes, if I talk about the basic unit of our home, what is it? So that's basically a brick. In this similar manner, if I talk about my whole body structure, it has actually started from the cell. And what was it? So that was the sperm cell that we have received from the father and the egg cell which was there in the mother. So our body's origination is actually there from the cell itself. When many cells come together, I mean these similar type of cells, they form tissues. When many tissues come together, they form organ, and the organs can be like a stomach, it can be a pancreas, right? And then finally the organ system is made. So that's the basic structure. Okay, one more thing. The next thing that I want to tell you is, guys, ever wondered what is biology? So since we are starting this subject today, so we must understand about it as well, right? So what is biology? Just see, this term logy is derived from term logos. And what does it mean? Logos means to study. And this bio term is linked with life. So the study of life is basically biology. But if I talk about the study of life, so it includes both animals and plants. Animals and plants. Guys, I have a basic question for you. So can you please tell me, if I want to see some animals, I just want to see lion, I just want to see tiger, what will be the perfect location where I can see it? Now don't say, so go with Discovery Channel or the National Geographic Channel. I want the serious answer. So you'll obviously say, sir, you can visit a zoo where you'll find every type of animal. So I was asking this question in order to make you understand. Since you'll find these animals in zoo, Logy means to study, so zoology is linked with the study of animals. Yes, zoology is linked with the study of animals, and similarly for the plants, that's botany. Botany is the study of plants and zoology is the study of animals. Was it asked in the examination previously? Yes. So study of cell is cytology, biology is the study of life, and zoology is the study of animals. One more thing and the last thing, then I'll continue with the cell topic. Guys, who is known as the father of biology? The father of biology is actually Aristotle. Aristotle is known as the father of biology. Okay. If I'll talk about the father of zoology, then again Aristotle is the answer. But if someone asks me about the father of botany, he is Theocritus. Okay, so that was the basic section. Coming back to my point. So guys, this cell that we were talking about, that's known as a structural and functional unit of life. Here I just want to know who discovered it first. So this was the year 1665 in which Robert Hooke actually experimented on the cork. That's a wooden structure. So here on the wooden structure, Robert Hooke actually checked it under the microscope and saw that there are some compartments which looked like a honeycomb structure in which you will find small rooms. Do you know what is the synonym of room? Anyone in the class who can answer me? What is the synonym of room? So Himanshu is here. No worries, brother. So good evening. How are you? So we have Ilang. Acha, Ilango, is it your correct name? So Ilango Shiva Kumar. So I can take your name Shiva. Will it be perfect? So Shiva, Himanshu, please remember that we need to link with the synonym. So here we can link it with a cell. So yes, room's synonym is cell, and yes, in this way cell was discovered. So first of all, let's look at the image of them. So cell, what is it? All the living beings, it doesn't matter we are talking about a squirrel, we are talking about frog, we are talking about bird, whatsoever it is, each and every living organism is made up of a basic unit of life, that is cell. When many cells combine together they form tissues, when many tissues come together they form organs, and finally the organ system is made, right? Okay, so here it is. A cell is the fundamental structural and functional unit of all the living organisms. Who discovered it? So he was Robert Hooke, who discovered the cell in 1665. So he's Robert Hooke, and he was the one who discovered the dead cell. And if I'll talk about the living cell, so living cell was actually discovered by Leeuwenhoek. So we were talking about that cork, right? So if I'll talk about the cork, so there were some compartments which looked like rooms from where the cell was derived. So just have a look. So Robert Hooke found in the cork there were some these compartments which were looking like honeycomb structure. So from here the cell name was derived. But still at that time the microscopes were not of that level. That electron microscope and all were discovered later. So later on when these cells were studied, so there was a theory that is known as cell theory that was given. So who was there? Here two main people were there. First one is Mathias Schildine and second one is Theodor Schwann. So let's go with it. See, so the invention of compound and electron microscopes revealed the structural details of the cell, and here because of the microscopes of this level we were able to understand about cell. So yes, here we'll find both the images. So we have Theodor Schwann and Matthias Schildine. So he's Schildine, he's Schwann. So they together gave cell theory. First of all, let's discuss about the Schildine. So yes, Schildine was the one who in 1838 observed that plants are composed of cells. And if I talk about animals, so here Schwann was the one who discovered that cells had a thin outer layer that's known as plasma membrane. He also found that plant cells have cell wall. That was in 1839, just after 1 year. So here when cell theory came in, everyone was aware of that yes, our body is made up of cells and all, but its extension was given by Virchow. 1 second, I'll just move there. So he proposed a hypothesis that animals and plants are composed of cells and they are the product of cells. That means we are made up of cells, right? But its extension was actually given by him. He is Rudolf Virchow. So Rudolf Virchow in 1855 explained that cells divide and new cells are formed from pre-existing cells. So he actually modified the cell theory. According to him, all the living organisms are made up of cell. One more thing that you must remember, cells actually are made from pre-existing cells. For example, this we'll discuss in the blood circulatory system. Do you know our RBC is actually uh, the one which is in the most abundant part. I mean, if I talk about the most abundant cell, that's RBC. And what is the count? Its count is 5.5 millions, where we know that 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs. So yes, even if I'll talk about this RBC, so RBC has the lifespan of 120 days. 120, which means the day I was born, after 120 days, RBC should have gone, it should have vanished, but no. The RBCs, some of the RBCs were dying, some of the RBCs were forming, and that process is still continuing, and that continues till the whole life. So, yes, cells are formed from the pre existing cells where some cells keep on dying, some cells keep on generating. So, it's mentioned here all living organisms are composed of cells and are the products of cells, and all the cells arise from pre existing cells. And yes, cells have the properties of dividing, repairing, all these things are possible. Okay. Now I have a question for you. This was the question in your previous year paper. Let's see who can answer this. So there's a long comment which is there on the YouTube section. So guys, since this is the first class, this is also there on the YouTube. So I'll keep on checking the comments for the both and YouTube and the paid class. But there's some question for you. Guys, can you please tell me if I'll talk about the cell theory. So cell theory is applicable for what? Option number A, virus. Or I'll just ask, cell theory is not applicable for what? Cell theory is not applicable for virus, bacteria, protozoa, or humans. We have discussed about cell theory. So please tell me, cell theory is not applicable for what? Till the time, I'll just check the comment. So let me check. Nagaraj is saying, so, it is ranked because they lack interaction with the student. I hope you guys have student. So, okay. So thank you for the suggestion, and on behalf of the candidates, I'll just thank you for putting your point. Now it's the time to just focus on the topic that we are discussing. So if you have any doubt regarding same, you can just let me know. And Shiva, you're absolutely correct. Himanshu and all the other candidates. So same cheese, Nagas. Here, please remember, if I talk about the cell theory, so cell theory is not applicable for virus, and that's 100% correct. Exactly. So guys, this was the question from the PYQs, because cell theory is applicable for all the living organisms but not for virus, and that's very important point. Fine. Getting back to a point. Now, so this was about the cell theory. Now proceeding further. Now guys, if I talk about the overview of the cell, so cell contains what? So there's a liquid structure which is there in the cell. What is its name? That is cytoplasm. What is it? That's cytoplasm. So cytoplasm is the liquid part which is actually present in the cell. Now there are certain cell organelles which are the part of the cell. It includes mitochondria, then it has Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, chloroplast. All those things are present in a fluid that's known as cytoplasm. So first of all, we'll discuss about that only. Cytoplasm, what is it? That's a semi-fluid matrix where cellular activities and chemical reactions occur. And yes, this keeps the cell in the living state. Point number one. The next one is ribosome. Ribosomes are known as the protein factories because protein synthesis takes place in the ribosome. One more thing, in today's class we'll see that all the other cell organelles are having membrane, but ribosome doesn't have any membrane. So yes, it is a non-membrane bound structure that was asked in the examination, so I pointed this out. One more thing, ribosome is found freely floating in the cytoplasm, point number one. It's also present on the endoplasmic reticulum. It's also present on the other parts. So that's mentioned here. It is a non-membrane bound organelle which is found in the cytoplasm, chloroplast, mitochondria, and on rough part of the endoplasmic reticulum. Mark this word rough. It will be linked later on. Fine. So I'll just show you the image as well. So that's the cytoplasm, which is the liquid portion of the cell, right? Second is here. So ribosomes were present in the cytoplasm, that is freely floating in the cytoplasm, but in the rough part of the endoplasmic reticulum as well. It's known as protein factory. Don't worry, one by one we are going to discuss this. So here, Jyoti, Shiva, everyone is fine with it. Fine. So now let's proceed further. So guys, can you just see? This is this type of cell which we people have. If I talk about the animal cell, this type of cell is there. In plant cell also, cell is fully developed, but yes, there's one more layer is there on the outermost part, which is the cell wall. As of now, cell is divided into two parts. One is prokaryotic, one is eukaryotic. So eukaryotic cells are the ones which are fully developed, and prokaryotic cells are the ones which are undeveloped. Okay. So here, this is the eukaryotic cell. Now, if someone asks you which is the smallest cell, what is it? So that's mycoplasma. And I'll tell you one important point there. Do you know mycoplasma can even survive without oxygen? Yeah, that's true. Mycoplasma can even survive without oxygen. Fine. That's the smallest cell. So I'll mention it here. So that's the smallest cell. That is mycoplasma, and size is it's zero 0.3 micrometer in length. Next, the largest isolated single cell is egg of ostrich. So that's the a cell. If I'll talk about the whole universe, that's the largest cell. That is the ostrich egg. What if I ask you which is the smallest cell in human body? So the smallest cell in the human body is sperm cell. Point number one. Second, if someone asks you which is the largest cell in the human body, what is it? The largest cell in the human body is ovum. That is the egg cell which is present in the females. That's very important question. Do not get confused. Smallest cell is mycoplasma, no doubt. But in the humans, it's sperm cell. Largest cell, that's ostrich egg. But in the humans, female egg cell which is known as ovum. Done. Proceeding further. Longest cell is the nerve cell, right? The size of the bacteria is 3 to 5 micrometer, and the size of human RBC is 7 micrometer in diameter. So these are the images that I mentioned here. So that's the mycoplasma. It's the ostrich egg. This is the nerve cell. Guys, these are the bacteria. We'll discuss about it in the prokaryotic section in next 10 to 20 minutes. And finally, these are the RBCs which are present in a body which has the quantity of 5.5 millions, and it helps in the oxygen's transfer. Cool. Okay, so now proceeding further. Next, so let's go with the overview of the cell. So guys, human cells and the plant cells are actually different. Plant tissues and human tissues will be totally different, right? So yes, what are tissues? They are the similar type of cells which are grouped together. Okay, so yes, we'll discuss about the plant tissues in the plant kingdom chapter. That's the last part of the bio. But yes, as of now, you must understand that cells are of two different types. One is prokaryotic. So here it is. One second. Yeah. So cells are of two different types. One is prokaryotic and another one is eukaryotic. So now here we have completed the starting of the chapter where introduction is completed. Now it's the time to proceed with the prokaryotic cells, where we just need to go with the overview again, and then we'll understand the eukaryotic cell in the detail. So first of all, let's start with the prokaryotic cell. And here in this prokaryotic cell, these are the cells which are not fully developed as discussed 5 minutes before. Here you can talk about the kingdom Monera, in which mycoplasma, bacteria, PPLO, all of them are here. So it's the time to understand prokaryotic cells. But yes, before starting this, I just want to ask, is there any doubt pending, guys? Is each and everything clear? So let me check the comment section. So Shiva, Mr. Shiva, Jyoti, Himanshu, Nagmas, is each and everything okay? If you have any questions, any doubts, any queries, you can just let me know. That means this section is clear, right? I'm proceeding further. So it's the time to understand. Okay. So it's the time to understand the prokaryotic cells. So these are the cells which are not fully developed. Okay. So see, they have no membrane bound nucleus and organelles. They include bacteria, blue-green algae, mycoplasma, PPLO, that is known as pleuropneumonia-like organism. Then they are generally smaller and multiply more rapidly than the eukaryotic cells, and they vary in the shape and size. So see, bacteria, so there are different type of bacteria. These are bacillus, these are spherical shaped bacteria, these are cyanobacteria, these are mycoplasma. which are the smallest cell basically. Okay, so based on the shape and size, bacteria are named differently. So if you look at the PYQs, you'll find that there were some of the questions which were asking match the following form. So it was like match the following name of bacteria with their shapes. So it was like rod shaped bacteria, you have to match it with the bacillus. So it's mentioned here. So bacteria have basically four shapes. The first one is bacillus, which are rod like. I'll show you the shape also, don't worry. Second one is coccus, which is spherical in shape. The third one is Vibrio, which is comma shaped, and the fourth one is Spiralum, which is spiral shaped. Fine. So let's have a look. So that's the bacillus. You can just see the rod-like structure. Here you will just see the sphere shaped, that is ball-like structure. So these are coccus. Then we have comma shaped bacteria. See, these are Vibrios. And finally, we have the spiral shaped bacteria, which looks like spring, and that's Spiralum. So this part was linked with the bacteria. Okay, Namas. Now here, just look at the structure of the cell. This cell is not fully developed. Just see, that's undeveloped cell, right? So here, what all things are there? Cell envelope, mesosome and chromatophores. Then it has nucleoid, flagella, pili and fimbriae, ribosomes, and they have other inclusion bodies. Very important part is you will find ribosome here also, and you will find ribosome in the eukaryotic cell as well. So in the prokaryotic cell, this part is sufficient for a knowledge purpose, but you must remember the ribosomes were present here also, it's present in the eukaryotic cell as well. So this was about the prokaryotic cells. If you want to go in detail, I'll just share the slide for the same, no worries. But here it's the time to understand the eukaryotics now. So proceeding further with the part that's important. Actually, the point is I am taking the classes for other exams as well. So I've created the notes according to all the examinations have different levels. So yes, our examination is till 10th level only, right? So whatsoever we are studying, I'll just tell you what's there in our level. So whatsoever we have studied till now, that was in our level. So there were few points which were in quite depth. So that would be better for the NEET part. Obviously, we need not give any NEET examination. So we are with the our examination part only. Yes, now it's the time to understand the eukaryotic section. Now what is it? So in the eukaryotic part, you'll find that cell is fully developed. Everything is here. Nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies, mitochondria, vacuoles. You'll find each and everything that is present here. So one by one, let's understand about it. So these are the cells which are fully developed and they are known as eukaryotic cells. What it includes? So see, if I talk about the kingdom, it's not a just animal and plant kingdom. Five kingdom classification was given by R.H. Whittaker. So all the organisms which are around us, it may be the small bacteria, it may be the virus, it may be amoeba, it may be neem tree, it may be the snake, it may be bird, it may be us. We all are divided into five main kingdoms. The number one is kingdom Monera, which is there in the prokaryotic section, and all the other four are in the eukaryotic section. So here Protista, where you can link it to the paramecium. Paramecium is there in the Protista kingdom. Fungi, mushroom, yeast, they all are the examples of fungi. Plant, neem, mango, all these are the examples of plant. Animal, we, cow, pigs, dogs, we all are in the animal kingdom. Fine. So yes, here we are eukaryotic because our cells are fully developed. Now, what all things are there in the eukaryotic cells? So they are well organized, membrane bound, nucleus and organelles. They all have that. So yes, there's a presence of membrane which gives clear compartmentalization of the cytoplasm. They have complex locomotory and cytoskeletal structure. Their genetic materials is organized into the chromosomes. So what all things are here? We have cytoplasm, we have endoplasmic reticulum. So one by one, let's have a look. So the cell organelles which are there in the eukaryotic cells, cell membrane, cell wall, endomembrane system, mitochondria, plastids, ribosomes, cytoskeletal, cilia and flagella, centrosome and centrioles, nucleus, microbodies, they all are actually the part of eukaryotic cells. So within the eukaryotic cells, all these things are present here. But yes, you will find some difference in the cells. This is the example of a plant cell in which The outermost layer is actually the cell wall, right? But if I'll talk about my cell, that is if I'll talk about the animal cell, so there is no such cell wall here. Here, the outermost part is cell membrane. Okay. So what is cell membrane? What is cell wall? Let's go in the details so that we can understand all these points in a better way. So let's start with the cell membrane first. Cell membrane, that's the structure. So here we have sugar, protein, cholesterol, lipid bilayer, all these things are present. So chemical studies on the human RBC show that cell membrane is composed of a lipid bilayer, protein and carbohydrate. One more thing, the question is directly asked in the examination, so I'll write it for you. The question was asked previously, cell membrane is made up of what? So the simple answer will be, it's made up of lipids and proteins. Yes. So it is made up of lipid and protein. Now, guys, it's the time to discuss, because if we'll discuss, it would be easy to understand. I have a simple question for you all. Guys, what's the use of main gate at our home? Main gate? Yes, I'm talking about the main door. So obviously everyone's home might be secured because of the doors, right? So on the extreme out, if I'll talk about the outermost part of our home, we always have a door there, right? So what is the need of that door? Very simple question, and I guess you all can answer. So what is the reason behind keeping that door in front of our home, or sorry, on the outermost part of our home? The main importance of that door is to keep everyone safe within our home, right? So it's already 9:30 right now, right? And at this time, I guess in most of the cases who are live here, your doors might be locked, right? What is the reason behind locking the door? The reason behind locking the door is to keep you safe, right? Now, if the door is not there, then what will happen? If door would not be there, everyone can come in and anyone can get out. This will be the issue. So you must be wondering, sir, if someone is coming in, that might be the issue, but if someone is going out, what's the issue in that? So let's say if there's a small child at your home, if he goes out at 9:30 or 10 in the evening, it would be quite dangerous, right? So in order to keep him or her safe, we need to keep that door shut, or we need to close that door, right? So yes, people can come in, people can go out, but not everyone. Only selective people can come in and get out. I am using the term selective. Do you know what is the reason? This term was asked in the examination. This membrane is actually a selectively permeable membrane, which doesn't allow each and every thing to get into the cell, and it doesn't allow each and everything to get out of the cell. So that's the selectively permeable membrane. That is, only the required things can be taken in, only the required things will get out. That's the point. So, yep, to enter and to exit as the lipid layer which is partially permeable. Absolutely correct, Shiva, no doubt about it. So this gives us clarity about everything. So yes, lipids, mainly the phosphoglycerides, they have outer polar head and inner hydrophobic tails. So the non-polar tail of the saturated hydrocarbons is protected from the aqueous environment. In short, it's talking about the safety here. Okay, that's done. I have to discuss some of the processes as well, the active transport and the passive transport. Some of you might have confusion, so I'll discuss that also. No worries. Okay, so the ratio of protein and lipid varies in different cells. For the human RBC, it's 52% protein and 40% lipids. So yes, our cell membrane is made up of lipids and protein. That is the perfect example. So no need to go with that portion. We can ignore it. Okay. So now guys, here if I'll talk about this transportation. So there are two types of transport. One is passive transport and the next one is active transport. So in order to understand it in a better way, I have a basic uh, example for you people. Guys, it's linked with the physics. Let me see. Let me check how many of you can answer this. Guys, what is electric current? In the layman language, any one of you, if you can answer. So if someone asks you what is electric current, what do you answer? Sir, that's the flow of charge. What is it? Flow of charge is electric current. Flow of water is water current. So water current doesn't mean that in the ocean there is any current. No. Ocean current means that there's a flow of water in that ocean, right? So yes, That's the flow of charges. Now charges, it may be the positive one or the negative one, right? So guys, when we talk about the current, so it always flows from higher potential to lower potential. So when it flows from higher potential to lower potential, Shiva, you are absolutely correct. So we can say that there's a potential difference because of which the current is flowing, right? Now in the similar manner, if I wanna pour this water into this glass, if I want to pour this water into the glass, so what I'll do, I'll just tilt this particular bottle, and due to gravity, this water is going to fill up in this glass, right? It's filled, simple. I have given less amount of effort, but if I want that this water should be transferred from glass to this water bottle now. So there's a change in the height, right? So what you can do? So for this, either you'll put the pipe in the glass and the water bottle. You'll just try to suck the water from the pipe, and slowly, because of the atmospheric pressure, that water will keep on moving. But yes, here there's a difference, right? You need to give some extra energy here. Or if I talk about a cooler, in our cooler, how this water is actually brought towards those nets. So in order to move that water, we need that pump. So that pump is there in that cooler. Similarly, if I just want to fetch the underground water and want to fill the tank, what I'll do, I'll use submersible pumps. So here, because it is acting against the gravity, I need to give some extra power. So the point is same here. So if I talk about the passive transport, so without giving any extra energy, it can easily move. So it's given here. One second, please check this slide. Yeah. So what is the point? So it's the movement of the molecules across the membrane along the concentration gradient. That is from higher concentration to the lower without expenditure of energy. And obviously, why energy would be used? So here it's of two different types. Simple diffusion, that is the movement of neutral solutes across the membrane, and the second one is osmosis, that is the movement of water by diffusion across the membrane. Guys, can you please tell me, we are using the just opposite phenomena at our home, and it's linked with this part. Who can answer me where we are using that phenomena? It would be easy. Can you please just tell me where we are using that? I guess this slide would be more better visible now. Yeah. One second, guys. Huh? Okay. So here I'm talking about the reverse osmosis process. So the reverse osmosis process that is actually used at a home for the purification of water. And yes, for that we are using, what is it? RO filter. That is reverse osmosis, for which we are using the power supply. That's totally correct. So, and yeah, if I'll talk about the osmosis process, that's absolutely correct, Shiva. So everyone, if you're using almonds, especially in the summers, so you are suggested to soak those almonds in water. So it's not only about the almonds, it's about different dry fruits, in which one of the examples Shiva has already given. So here that would be the example of osmosis. Perfect. Okay, so this was about the passive transport. If I talk about the active transport, so the movement of molecules across the membrane against the concentration gradient, and here we'll need the energy, that is in the form of ATP. So do you know what is ATP? ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. What is it? Adenosine triphosphate. So when I'll discuss about the mitochondria, I'll take this topic again. So it will take hardly next 5 to 10 minutes, in which I'll explain this topic again. Fine. That is ATP part. Okay. So this was about the cell membrane. Now guys, let's understand about the cell wall. So this cell wall is not present in our body. No. The cell wall is only and only present in the plant cell. So if I'll talk about the plant cell, the outermost layer is cell wall. it's made up of cellulose and hemicellulose. So guys, it's mentioned here, it's a non-living rigid structure that's present on the outer or to the plasma membrane of the fungi and plants. So the cell wall of algae is made up of cellulose, galactines, mannas and minerals like calcium carbonate. In the other plants, it consists of cellulose, hemicellulose, pectins and proteins. So yes, there's a difference. So algae's cell wall is made up of cellulose, no doubt, but their galactines and mannas is there. If I talk about this part, that is plants, so cellulose, hemicellulose, pectins, these things are present. So that's okay. Proceeding further, cell walls of a young plant cell is capable of growth, so it gradually diminishes as cell matures and the secondary wall is formed on the inner side. So that's not important, that's not relevant. Yeah, what are the functions? So it gives shapes to the cell, it protects the cell from the mechanical damage and infection, it helps in the cell to cell interaction, it acts as a barrier to undesirable macromolecules. Here, can you see this is endoplasmic reticulum on which the rough part ribosomes were present. Ribosomes were also there on the cytoplasm where they were freely floating. So if I'll talk about the endomembrane system, here we have endoplasmic reticulum, we have Golgi bodies, we have ribosomes, all these things come under this part only. So they include endoplasmic reticulum, they include Golgi complex, they also include the lysosomes which are known as suicidal packets. Okay, so they have vacuole cells. So first of all, these are the endoplasmic reticulum. But in the endoplasmic reticulum, you need to remember this section. It has rough endoplasmic reticulum. It also has smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Guys, where ribosome is present? Who will answer me? So for this, let me check the comment section. Someone has any doubt? So civilian, right, you are absolutely correct. Nagmas, I'll just upload this PDF on the application. You can just download it from there. And Mr. Civilian, yes, I have left that organization, so can't discuss about it here at this platform, but we can discuss about it on the Telegram. Yeah. So I have a trick here. If I talk about the rough part, that is R stands for rough, and similarly R stands for ribosomes. So rough endoplasmic reticulum consists of ribosomes, right? And here ribosomes, since they were known as the protein factory, so the same location is linked with the synthesis of proteins. So if someone asks you where proteins are generated, so that's generated on the rough part. That means because ribosomes are present, protein synthesis taking place here. What about lipids? So lipids are actually generated on the smooth part. Yes, you need to remember this, and that's very important. Fine. Okay, so Shiva, that's correct. Jyoti, do you have any doubt here? Okay. So now guys, endoplasmic reticulum divides the intracellular space into two compartments, that is the luminal and the extraluminal, and it's of two different types, rough and smooth. So the rough endoplasmic reticulum bear ribosome on their surface, and it frequently observed in the cell actively involved in the protein synthesis and secretion. So protein synthesis in rough part and lipids production in the smooth part. Ribosomes are absent, major site for the synthesis of lipid. That's it. Okay, so this was about endoplasmic reticulum. Now Golgi apparatus. This is cis phase, this is trans phase, this is the Golgi apparatus where intracellular transportation takes place. But it's not only limited to the intracellular transportation, even the modification of the proteins takes place. So that's the question which was asked in the examination. They'll give you four options. They'll ask where modification of the proteins is taking place. The modification of the protein is taking place at this particular location. Okay, so they are densely strained reticular structures near nucleus. First observed by Camille Golgi. From here itself, this name was derived, that is Golgi. So they consist of flat disc shaped sacs of 0.5 to 1 micrometer diameter. They are stacked parallel to each other. Cisternae are concentrically arranged in the convex cis forming phase and trans maturing phase. And here, now if I talk about the functions, so yes, they secrete material to the intracellular targets or outside the cell. Materials to be packed as vesicles from the endoplasmic reticulum fuse with the cis phase and moves towards the trans phase. This is why Golgi apparatus remains in the close association with the endoplasmic reticulum. And the most important thing is protein which was synthesized by the ribosomes on the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Its modification takes place here. That's what is mentioned. So they are modified in the cisternae of the Golgi apparatus before they are released from its transphase. So yes, intracellular transportation, point number one. Second is proteins modification. So these 2 points were asked in the examination. Please remember this. Proceeding further. So the formation of glycoproteins. It's mentioned in the last point. Yeah, glycoproteins and glycolipids. Then we have lysosomes. Lysosomes are also known as suicidal packets. What is the reason? So if we'll talk about the structure, these are the lysosomes. In the lysosomes, there are certain enzymes which are present. So if cell is not working properly, they actually burst. They digest whole cell. So they are also known as suicidal packets, and that's the important point. Okay. Then if I'll talk about vacuoles, this is the section. This is vacuole. So they are the membrane-bound space which is found in the cytoplasm, and it contains water, sap, excretory products, and all those other parts which are not useful for the cell that's present here. The thing which is more important here is this structure has a membrane around it. Do you know what is that name? Please mark that name. Please note it down. This is known as tonoplast. No worries, I have mentioned it in the next point. So vacuole is bound by a single membrane that's known as tonoplast, and this question is most repeated part. It's again and again asked in the examination. Now, in plant cells, the vacuoles can occupy up to 90% of the volume of the cell. Then, is it present only in the plant cell? No. So, it's present in the plant cell with the larger size, and in the animal cell, it's of smaller size. That's the point. Okay, so in amoeba, the contractile vacuole helps for the excretion. In many cells, like in protista, food vacuoles are formed by engulfing the food particle. Then mitochondria. It's the time to understand the ATP, which Shiva was telling us. So guys, mitochondria is also known as powerhouse of the cell. There might be some reason, right? So guys, let's understand about it. When we breathe in, now when I'm breathing in, so my lungs have alveoli where gaseous exchange takes place, where the oxygen is added up with the hemoglobin. It forms hemoglobin, and that oxygen is carried towards the cell. And within the cell, in mitochondria, sorry guys, so whatsoever you eat, its synthesis is done, I mean its assimilation is done, I mean its whatsoever its role is, that working is done. So whatsoever we are eating, out of that, the glucose section which is there in our body, glucose, which gives us energy, that's the part of carbohydrate, right? So it's a carbohydrate. So can you please give me the formula of glucose? Anyone? Mr. Shiva, Jyoti, Ragma, Civilian, all the candidates were present in the class. Here, please remember, the formula for the glucose is C6H12O6. Now, why I am writing this? It's not relevant here. It will be linked with the respiratory system chapter. I'll link it there. Please remember, when this glucose reacts with the oxygen, it forms carbon dioxide plus water, and yes, it gives energy. The point that Shiva was suggesting us, that's present here. So energy is present in what form? That's an ATP. And do you know what is ATP? ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. Yeah, that's the energy part which is helping us out in speaking and thinking something, that is in each and every aspect of the life. This energy is utilized. We are thinking something, we are talking with someone, we are whatsoever you're doing, you're lifting something, you need energy, right? So it's obtained here. So if I talk about the perfect equation, so you need to balance it. It will be this equation, but that's the part of respiratory system. This is known as aerobic respiration. So yes, energy that is generated is it's in the form of ATP. Okay. So here, their number, shape, and size per cell are variable depending on the physiological activity. It is a sausage shaped structure, you can just see, having a diameter of 0.2 to 1 micrometer and length is 1 to 4.1 micrometer. So mitochondrion is a double membrane, that is, we have outer membrane and the inner membrane, outer and the inner membrane. And here, as discussed, power generation takes place, so that's sufficient. So here we'll go with the functioning. One second, let's go with it. Yeah. So mitochondria are the sites of aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration means the breaking of the glucose in the presence of oxygen. Okay. So they produce the energy in the form of ATP, and that's what is known as powerhouse of the cell. Can we ignore this stuff? Yes, we can ignore this starting 2 points because they are not relevant with the examination. Okay. Now, plastids. Plastids are only and only present in the plant cell. They are not present within our body. So they are found only in the plant cells and the euglonoids. They are large sized, easily observable under the microscope. They contain some pigments, which includes chloroplast that imparts green color, point number one. Chromoplast, which imparts different colors to the flowers and the fruits. And then we have leucoplast, which is either colorless or white plastid. So one by one, let's go with it. Chloroplast, chromoplast, and the leucoplast are here. So they have these three types, that is chloroplast, chromoplast, and leucoplast. First of all, chloroplast. So they contain chlorophyll and carotenoid pigments. They trap light energy for the photosynthesis, and for the same reason, it is also known as kitchen of the cell. Please remember this. Powerhouse of the cell is mitochondria, but the kitchen of the cell is chloroplast. Okay, next. If I'll talk about chromoplast, so they contain the fat-soluble carotenoid pigments like keratin, xanthophylls, etc. They give yellow, orange, and red color. That's the chromoplast. You can link it with the Google Chrome. That's the best part. So guys, have you ever seen the logo of Google Chrome? No? So guys, if you look at the logo of the Google Chrome, you'll find different colors there. You'll find red color, you'll find yellow color. You can just link that section with the Chrome with the Google Chrome. It would be easy to remember. And the third part was leucoplast. So these are colorless plastids of various shape and sizes with the stored nutrients. They include amyloplast, which stores starch. So example can be potato. Then we have elaioplast, they store oils and fats, and then we have aleuroplast, they store proteins. Okay, so chloroplasts are double membrane bound organelle, which is mainly found in the mesophyll cells of the leaves. So if I talk about the structure, there are thylakoid disc present, granum is present. So they are included in the photosynthesis phase. We'll discuss this about this in the photosynthesis again. Okay, so that's done. Now ribosomes. So George Perret was the one who first observed ribosome. No need to remember these years. That's not important. So yes, ribosomes were discovered by George Perret. So these are the non-membranous granular structures composed of RNA and proteins. RNA stands for ribonucleic acid. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay. So ribosomes are the ones which are known as protein factory because they are involved in the protein synthesis. Eukaryotic ribosomes have two subunits, 60S, that is the large unit, and 40S, the subunits. Eukaryotic means the cells which are fully developed, like we people. So they together form 80S. Then cytoskeletal, it's a network of filamentous proteinaceous structures which is present in the cytoplasm. They provide mechanical support, motility, maintenance of the shape of the cell. Then cilia and flagella, they are hair-like outgrowths of the cell membrane. Cilia, they are the small structures which work like oars. They cause the movement of the cell and surrounding fluid. Flagella is longer. They are responsible for the cell movement. Flagella of the prokaryotes and eukaryotes are structurally different. Okay, one thing. Guys, there's one more cell which we have discussed in the very starting, if you remember. We are talking about the sperm cell. So guys, let me write it for you. So see, this is the structure of the sperm cell. Fine. So this is the head portion and this is the tail portion. So anyone, you can just give a guess because we have discussed many things about this cellular structure. Guys, which cell organelle might be helping in giving the energy to the sperm cell? Anyone? So the energy, because these sperm cells need to move towards the egg, right? Because there are millions of sperm cells. You might have watched Three Idiots movie in which Viru Sahasrabudhi says, "Life is a race." If you remember, yeah. So guys, since life is a race, when we were born, we were the first one to reach the egg cell to break it, right? So there, for the energy, it might be having something, and Shiva has already given the answer. That's mitochondria, which is giving you energy. So yes, this cell, I mean, the sperm cell also has the mitochondria, which gives us, gives it energy. One more thing, for the direction we have tail, but specifically if it is asked in the examination, tail is not given in the option. it wanna ask about the flagella. So flagella helps the sperm cells to actually move. So here that's responsible for the cell movement. Okay, so that's also done now. So yep, cilia and flagellum are covered with the plasma membrane. That's not relevant. Then centrosome is the organelle containing two non-membrane bound cylindrical structures which are known as centrioles. They are surrounded by pericentriolar materials. Okay. Then nucleus. So nucleus was first discovered by Robert Brown. The material of the nucleus stained by the basic dyes was given the name chromatin by Fleming. Now guys, if I'll talk about this chromatin part, guys, do you know how many chromosomes are present within a body? So if I'll talk about the humans, it's 46 and it varies from animal to animal. So different animals have different number of chromosomes. So nucleus is the location where the heredity information is present. So whenever a child is born, half of the chromosomes were there from the father and half of the chromosomes were there from the mother, because of which we have our features which are similar to our parents, right? So there might be some heredity issues as well, like baldness and all, so they are again heredity. But in short, yes, DNA is present here itself, chromosomes are present at the same part. So normally a cell has one nucleus, some cells have more than one, and some cells even lack nucleus. For example, if I talk about RBC doesn't have any nucleus, especially in the mammals. RBC doesn't have any nucleus, but there are two exceptions. One is camel, another one is llama. We'll discuss about it in the blood chapter. But as of now, please remember, yes, it's possible that a cell is not having any of the nucleus, and RBC is the perfect example for the same. So if I talk about this nucleus, so the interphase nucleus contains nuclear envelope, nuclear matrix, that is nucleoplasm, and chromatin. Then we have nucleolus. So that's the part here. So here guys, please remember, nuclear envelope is also known as nuclear membrane, and nuclear membrane keeps it separate from the cytoplasm. So cytoplasm and nucleus are separate from this portion which is known as nuclear envelope. So that's all from my end for the day. The cell chapter is divided into two parts. Now there was a part that was mentioned interface. So we'll link it with the interface, prophase and all in the next chapter, that is in the cell division. So be sharp at 2 tomorrow, guys. So that's all from my end. And yes, if you have any questions, any queries, any doubts, you can just let me know. So tomorrow we'll complete the cell topic and also we'll discuss some of the questions tomorrow, because there are some topics which can be completed in the one lecture, but there are some topics where we need to go in detail, because it's the examination now in which some questions are also asking the details. So we'll go in a manner that everything will be covered in the class itself. So please let me know how was the class and is there any doubt. I have two questions from you people. So Mr. Civilian, Nagamas, Shiva, Jyoti and all the other candidates. Jyotika, is everything okay? Chalo, fine. So that's all from mine. And guys, do not worry about the PDF. Whatsoever I'm teaching you, I'll share this PDF after the class. So I'll upload this PDF. You can revise it from here. So tomorrow in the next class, we'll discuss the cell division section. Fine. All clear? So Varshita, okay, fine. So Varshita, Shiva, thank you guys. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience. And guys, one more thing, since this was the first class, this was live on the YouTube as well. So all the candidates who are there on the YouTube, this is only for you. Guys, you can just type Oliveboard on the Google. The first link that pops up, you can click on that. Here on the dashboard, you will find that there is there's an offer of 59% off that is going on. So you can just click on the dashboard and you'll find SSC plus Railway Super Elite batch, which has both English and Hindi medium courses. Here, you'll just click on it and you'll click on the enroll now option and you can use the code super for the maximum discount. You'll just scroll it and you'll apply super code here and you'll get the maximum discount. So that's all from my end. This is for the YouTube candidates, and for the live candidates, we'll meet tomorrow at 2 p.m. Bye guys, take care. Jai Hind. Love you all. Please take care.